Lucy Porter!
It's lovely to be here. I'm Lucy, and I'm the shortest act on the bill tonight. That's my gimmick. All right, I'm only 5 feet tall. It doesn't matter, because now I'm 32 and I'm starting to get a bit worried about, ageing and that. But I found a brilliant thing I can do to hold back time. And what it is, it doesn't involve surgery or anything. What I do is I just paint my face like a tiger, and everyone thinks I'm 6. So... It is. I tell you what's nice as well is that, because this is a nice crowd, and sometimes in comedy clubs we go around and we do gigs like recently it's been the sort of hen and stag night season in all the comedy clubs, and we've had I was doing a gig in Manchester a couple of weeks ago, and we had all these hen nights in. We had this one big hen night in from Liverpool, right, and they were lovely, but there was about 50 of them, and they were really drunk, even before the evening had started. Have you ever walked into a nightclub and just looked round and thought, my God, all the women in here have slipped Rohypnol into their own drinks? They're just there with their bits out going, take us, it's fine. It's so sweet. But because I was thinking about it and thinking it's lovely when you watch hen nights, because they're very predictable, aren't they? You see a hen night and you can watch them go through all the different stages, can't you? Like they kind of go happy, 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 crying on the stairs. And there's just always one woman weeping in a pair of bunny ears. And she's got all mascara around her face, and she sort of smells faintly of saliva and jism, and I know, it's heartbreaking, isn't it, really? But, it's interesting, though, because you watch the stag nights, and the stag nights go through stages too, and it's similar but different, in that the stag nights tend to go happy, 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 horny, fighty, dead. We do. British people like drinking, don't we? There's all this stuff at the moment about 24-hour drinking. Are we in favour of 24-hour drinking? Hey, there was one old lush who started before I'd even finished the question. Because it's interesting for me, though, because I live in South East London, and it won't really make much difference around my way, because we already have 24-hour drinking, frankly. The only time the bell rings in my local is when it's time for all the kids to go to school. I haven't got any children. I'm a childless person. I haven't got any children because I haven't met the right nanny. I really love children, but because sometimes I wonder what would have happened if my life had gone differently. Do you ever do this? Sometimes if I'm in a really nice area, if those areas with lovely big houses, sometimes I'll look at a big house and I'll kind of fantasize that because I live in a little studio flat, and I think, would I be happier if I lived in a big house? I don't know. Obviously, my life would have had to have gone differently. I haven't really thought it through. Say, I don't know, if I was married to a doctor, called Miles, who's a really gifted surgeon but also writes beautiful poetry. It's funny, actually, we were whitewater rafting in Arizona, and my canoe got into difficulties, and Miles lifted me out of the water with his big strong arms. Then we married in Hertfordshire, because that's where Miles's family are from, but we live in Hampshire now, and we're very, very happy. We've got 2 delightful children. We've got Tristram. Tristram's 3, and he's such a naughty little scamp, he really is. And then there's Jonquil. Jonquil's only 5, but she's already absolutely potty about ponies. We called her Jonquil after the flower because it's such a lovely shade of blue, and Jonks was born prematurely, so she was the same kind of colour when she came out. Because I think it's hard having kids, isn't it? I look at some of my mates who've got young children, and I just think, my God, if I wanted to be tired, nervous and broke, I'd get a crack habit, frankly. It's so difficult. And because I've had the same conversation with a lot of my friends recently, right, where they come up to me and they go, the thing is, Lucy, right, we're just really torn because we kind of feel since we've had the kids, we should move to the countryside. But, it's just really difficult, because obviously we want little raspberry and echinacea to grow up on an organic diet in the fresh air. But at the same time, we're really torn, because we live in London, we live in Stoke Newington. It's so vibrant and multicultural, and we're just really worried we're going to move to the countryside and meet a load of racists and bigots. And then you see them after they've moved to the countryside, and they're like, bring back fox hunting, fuck the gypsies, vote Kilroy, You just think, maybe little raspberry and echinacea are going to be healthier, but that's terrifying because they're being raised by Nazis now. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love kids, but it is parents that I have the problem with. The other day I was on the bus near where I live, and someone was kicking the back of my seat, right, and it was just a bit annoying. And so I turned around to see who was doing it, and behind me was well, what turned out to be a human child, but what at first glance looked for all the world like a pit bull in Burberry, frankly. Just, this horrible little, probably about 7 or 8, and it had a McDonald's Happy Meal, right? And it was kind of fisting this McDonald's Happy Meal into the bleak Stygian abyss of its gaping maw. And then, and there was just this sound, and I couldn't tell whether it was the noise of the Happy Meal being ingested or the sound of my ovaries shrivelling as I looked at it, right? Person. I do love the children. I believe the children are our future. So I thought, I'll be nice. And so I turned around and I said, look, sweetheart, I'm really sorry. Would you mind not kicking back in my seat because it's a bit irritating, right? That was all I said. And, I thought that was fine. But this turned out to be the cue for its mother, right? Who was a very pleasant-looking young woman, bit orange, but, fine. But this turned out to be the cue for her to unleash this torrent of abuse at me. And she was going, you fucking bitch, you've got no fucking right to tell my child off. My little Asbo's a lovely little boy. He's done nothing wrong, And I was upset, but I was angry as well because I just thought, you're one of these people who go on about your rights, but you've got no idea about your responsibilities, have you, to that child, to the rest of us? You're bringing this child, and you're reading the Daily Star, so presumably you're one of these people who thinks we shouldn't fund HIV treatment for asylum seekers, but to be honest, I'd much rather pay for that than pay for treatment for the type 2 diabetes your child's inevitably going to get feed on shit, I hope it dies, right? Obviously I didn't actually say that because I can't really express my anger and I don't like getting stabbed, but But I feel like I've shared, You've been a lovely, lovely audience. So a lot of comedians like to end on a laugh, but I find that a bit of a cliche. What I like to do is just share a motivational quotation with my audiences. And the one I've picked for you is, if you judge people, you have no time to love them, right? Which I thought was a lovely sentiment, but more importantly, I wanted to share those words with you because those words were said by Mother Teresa of Calcutta. And I actually think that we can all learn something from Mother Teresa. And that thing is, you've got to moisturise. Okay, she was wonderful, but she had skin like a scrotum, didn't she? So have a wonderful evening, thank you.